Hi, I want to chat about fear today. So you may have heard me say fear is a treacherous adversary, and it is. Don't get me wrong, it truly is. Because when fear gets a grip or a hold of you, it can make you do things that you wouldn't want to do or you wouldn't normally do in a pressure situation or any situation. But when you're under pressure, fear can show up. And I was out paddling this morning, and normally fear is not present, but it did present itself a little bit because there were big winds and there was actually quite big chop on the harbour. And as I looked over at South Head, I could see really big spray, and I was really aware that the water was a bit churned up, actually quite a lot churned up. And the last thing I wanted to do was fall off my surf ski into the water in the middle of the ferry lane. So I was a little bit fearful. And I was thinking to myself, just paddle carefully, just get through it, you'll be fine, just keep going, slow down, don't hurry, watch the wind, watch the water, watch the boats. And I was trying to really hold myself together, rather than reacting in a big way and feeling anxious, because fear often incites anxiety. And anxiety is a really big thing these days. People talk about anxiety. A lot of therapists work with anxiety. I'm not a therapist. I don't work with anxiety at all. But I'm very aware of it, and I'm very aware of the impact it can have for people. And I was also then consequently having a conversation with my sister, who was also out paddling with me, but we didn't talk about it in the chop. And she's a psychologist, so Shirley is a psychologist, and she's reading a very interesting book at the moment on the history of anxiety. Now, it turns out that back in the days of Plato and Aristotle, they spoke about anxiety then, so it's a notion that's been around for a really long time. And they also spoke about how with the armies, the military, that they would look for attributes in the soldiers, which is probably not too dissimilar to what we do today. You might have been through a psychometric test and all sorts of so on, tests like that in terms of your employment kind of things. It's certainly definitely something that they do with the military these days still. And they look for a certain level of fear and anxiety. So they want you to be brave, but they don't want you to be so brave that you make silly decisions. And they want you to be fearful enough, but they don't want you running or freezing. So there's a balance. And I found this really interesting. And then what Shirley said to me was, what if we use different words for anxiety and fear? And she reeled off a few words, but the one that stuck with me was alert. And I thought, alert? And immediately I imagined meerkats. Because, meerkats work as a community. And there are one or two at all times just watching out and alert. And any sign of danger, they let the family or the group know, and everyone gets to safety. Well, most of the time, I'm sure in the wild, it's not quite so perfect. But anyway, there are a couple of meerkats that protect or keeping an eye out and are alert. And I love the idea of alert, because for me it says that you're switched on, you're listening, you're hearing, you're noticing, you're seeing. And that is a very present thing to do and enables you to take in the situation. And then I started to think more about alert, and I thought, what if you noticed, and I'm thinking about me here, so when I say if you, I don't mean you literally, but if you noticed that you were alert, or you are consciously trying to be alert when faced with fear, which could make you anxious, what if you use the word yes? Yes, I'm going to look at that. Yes, I'm going to do that. Yes, I'm going to try this out. Yes, yes, yes. What if that happened? And so I've decided that when I'm presented with a tricky situation, and that might make me feel a little bit discombobulated, upset, fearful, anxious, whatever the word is, I'm going to use the word alert. And I'm going to say yes to whatever is being presented to see how I deal with that situation differently. And I don't know what you think. You might have a different word that you'd want to use. But I'm really interested in this idea. So I'm going to let you know over time how being alert and saying yes has an impact in my life. But I'd also love to hear from you too. What do you think? Because like meerkats, we're all a part of the community, and you're a part of the salary coach community. So I would love to hear from you. I'd love to hear what you think of this idea, whether anxiety and fear push you around at any given time, and how you deal with that. So, with that thought, I'm going to go and wash the salt out of my hair because I still have it from the ocean earlier today. And I hope you have a fantastic day, and I'll see you next time. Take care.